Today's Saturday, October 4th. This is the 1967 Oldsmobile Toronado tilt and telescopic steering column restoration for my friend Charles Carey in Atlanta and his mechanic Patrick. So the unit has been completely disassembled. It was originally brought in for a level 5 restoration, but it had significant damage, so I went ahead and did a level 10 restoration, which means everything was completely disassembled all the way down to the final screw. And we have two predecessor videos. This is video number 3 showing the final embodiment, and we're going to be doing a functional validation test, testing the kinematic motion of the 5 degrees of freedom of the tilt, the infinite movement of the telescopic neck, and all the electricals. So we're going to go ahead and start with the electricals. So I'm going to go ahead and connect power. I have a light bulb here. We'll be looking for the light bulb to come on. Okay, I've connected to the power feed. And now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to actuate the lever downwardly, which was, since we're upside down, this would be indicative of a right-hand turn. And I'm going to go ahead and touch the corresponding wires for the right turn signals. So right hand front, right hand rear, right hand front, right hand rear. When I touch the lefts, nothing happens because we're in right hand mode. Okay, I'll go ahead now and cancel out, and we'll look for the lever to retract back to neutral, and it does. Now I'll go ahead and pull it upwardly, which was, again, since we're upside down, that's indicative of a left-hand turn. And now I'll touch the left-hand wires, and the light bulb comes on. Left-hand front, left-hand rear, left-hand front, left-hand rear. And when I touch the right-hand wires, right there, nothing happens. Nothing happens because we're in left-hand mode. So touch the left-hand front, left-hand rear. When I touch the right, nothing happens because we're in left-hand mode. So I'll go ahead and turn it, and we'll look for the lever to cancel out. And the lever cancels back to neutral. Okay, which is one of the features of the cancellation cam. Now I'm going to go ahead and test the cornering lights or marker lights. These are the large illuminating lights at the bottom of the front fender that light up the sidewalks so that, and the curbs, so that you don't rash your hubcaps into the curbs. And I'll go ahead again. We're in right-hand mode, and I touch the right-hand wire, and the light bulb comes on for the illuminating bulb, meaning the cornering marker lights. And again, we'll cancel out back to neutral. Go into the left-hand mode and touch the left-hand wire for the cornering lamps, and the light bulb comes on. So we've tested the front and rear, left and right turn signals. We've tested the left and right cornering lamp. Now I'm going to go ahead and test the emergency hazard switch. And as I discussed in the predecessor videos, where I showed the difference in the original wiring harness versus some of these aftermarket pieces of trash that don't work. In the tilt and telescopic steering column, unlike the standard column, our emergency hazard light is 3.5 inches down, and that's because we have a cover for the back of the telescopic steering wheel that actuates linearly, okay, in concert with the telescopic neck. In fact, I'll go ahead and just do a quarter of a turn, and we can see how the telescopic neck has 3.5 inches of infinite travel, and wherever you place it, quarter of a turn, and it tightens it down. Quarter of a turn loosens it. Quarter of a turn snugs it back up. Okay, so since we have 3.5 inches of travel on the telescopic neck, there's a head bowl cover on the back of the steering wheel, and that traverses up and down because obviously you're never going to reveal the telescopic neck. So when the steering wheel is fully retracted all the way down to your toes, so to speak, as opposed to extended all the way up to your nose, when it's retracted all the way down to your toes, the steering wheel, the end of the head bowl cover comes here. So you have to be able to actuate the emergency hazard lights. Unlike the standard column, which has no linear travel of 3.5 inches because it's fixated, there is no telescopic neck in the standard column. And in those cases, the cheap wiring harness basically has the emergency hazard button up here. Okay, so That's what was sent to me, which was not an original core. And I used one of my core wiring harnesses, did a surgical restoration of it, and reconstructed the column in accordance with the original design intent, whereby the emergency hazard switch is located 3.5 inches from the end, or from the top head of the cover. And we'll go ahead and we'll press the button in, which is indicative of the emergency hazard mode. And now I'll go ahead and connect my power feed to the hazard feed. And in this mode we have all 5 lights that come on. Okay, we have the brake lights, which is this wire all the way at the full end of the 9-pin R connector in position 1. So we have the brake light, right hand front, left hand front, right hand rear, left hand rear. So that's 5 lights. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 that'll be flashing when we're in the emergency hazard mode. Okay, and just as I did in the previous exercise, I'll go ahead and rotate the spline, and we'll be looking for the hazard button to pop out automatically, as is part of the feature functionality of the cancellation cam. Okay, so we've tested all of the electricals, the turn signals, left and right, front and rear, the cornering lamps, left and right, the emergency hazard lights, whereby everything comes on. There's one more electrical feature I want to test, and that is the horn. So I'll go ahead and connect to the last wire down here. We'll be looking for the light bulb, and in the very front of the column, we have these copper connectors right here. Okay, so when this is where the large conical spring that comes from the back of the head bowl cover of the tilt and telescopic steering wheel. Okay, there's a large conical spring, and that makes electrical contact no matter where it is in the 3.5 inches of travel. It has constant electrical contact. So when I touch one of the 3 contacts here, you can see down here that the light bulb comes on. Okay, so that's the horn. So we've tested the horn as well. Okay, so all of the electricals have passed the functioning validation test, and now we'll do the mechanicals. Really all that's left is the 5 degrees of freedom. If you're an engineer, that basically means 5 positions. Okay, we've already tested the infinite movement of the telescopic neck. Now we'll test the tilt feature, and this is full down, partial, full up, partial up, and back to neutral. Okay, so that's the 5 degrees of freedom of the tilt and telescopic steering column. And this will be going to my friend Charles in Atlanta. As soon as I get his okay to ship, reply confirmation. This is George in Florida. I have over 375,000 original vintage General Motors parts from 1959 through 1976, all the way through 78 for the Eldorados, which is what I have in my own personal collection, 7 classic Eldorados. I'm best known for my restoration of the steering wheels, the tilt and telescopic steering columns as depicted in this example, the power seat mechanisms, the instrument clusters, and other critical hard-to-source original vintage Cadillac items. And alternatively, Oldsmobile steering columns as well. Today is Saturday, October 4th. Thank you very kindly.